Welcome to Crash Test Videos. First off, to my family and friends especially, I'd like to apologize for my hairy face. Yes, it scares children sometimes, and no, I'm not marooned on a desolate island. Anywho, I went to the local bookstore the other day and I picked up some gems that I'd like to share with you. Starting with, you might remember me, The Life and Times of Phil Hartman, published back in 2014, written by Mike Thomas. Most people remember Phil Hartman for his run of 8 seasons on Saturday Night Live between 1986 and 1994. He was known as the glue guy / Mr. Utility. This was because he could play anyone from a president to a juvenile delinquent. One of his first big gigs was on Pee-wee's Playhouse, which he wrote and acted in with star Paul Reubens, who just happened to pass away not that long ago. That particular show was also a big inspiration for the cartoon SpongeBob SquarePants. Mr. Crab, by the way, plays Dead Ringer for Captain Carl, who actually kind of looks a little bit like him too. He did a litany of small roles in various TV shows, movies, cartoons. News Radio, a TV show, was one of his biggest final roles. It also starred David Foley, Andy Dick, and Joe Rogan, just to name a few. I, however, will always hold most dear his cameo on the movie So I Married an Axe Murderer by and starring Mike Myers. He plays a retired prison guard, a now turned tour guide, and at this particular moment, he's showing a group of people around, and he introduces himself as Ranger John Johnson. But, he says, you can call me Vicky. Maybe it had to be there. Just one of his many killer cameos throughout the 80s and 90s. His life, unfortunately, ended prematurely when his wife shot him in his sleep. She then took her own life, which happened back in 1998. Second up here is Val Kilmer, I'm Your Huckleberry, a memoir published in 2020. He also did a documentary about his life not too long ago. If you don't know who Val Kilmer is, I'm guessing you're youngish. He's now 60-something. He's a survivor of throat cancer. One of his latest movies was Top Gun Maverick as Admiral Tom Iceman Kazansky. He's also played such roles as A Real Genius, Elvis, Batman, Iceman, Mad Mardigan, a bank robber, a saint. But probably a couple of my favorite roles were as Doc Holliday and Jim Morrison. He was one of my favorite actors growing up in the early 90s, and he's had quite the roller coaster career since, which is why I'm really looking forward to a peek into his cranium. Number 3 here is pretty good. Larry David and the Making of Seinfeld and Curb Your Enthusiasm, published in 2010, written by Josh Levine, who also wrote Much Ado About Nothing, the biography of Jerry Seinfeld. Comedy's my genre, folks, for anything really. And to get a chance to read about the master of nothing is everything. And the fourth book here is Robin, published in 2018, written by Dave Itzkoff, if I'm pronouncing that properly. Is there an adult on Earth who doesn't know who this man is? I mean, everyone has a favorite Robin Williams movie. Just turn to the person next to you and ask them what it is. I bet you they'll tell you within seconds. Mine is Fisher King, by the way. I heavily recommend it. Let me know what yours is down below. Unless it's Flubber, just keep that to yourself. He's been in so many films, there's probably at least 20 you haven't seen. And it's hard to believe it's already been like 9 years since he passed away, August 11th, 2014. I remember where I was, what I was doing, who told me. That's how much I admired his work. What were you doing that day? Do I want to know? Keep it classy. Fifth up, Stories I Only Tell My Friends, an autobiography by Rob Lowe. Every time I go to the used bookstore, they'd always have a copy of this. Alert, alert. And what finally pushed me into buying it was listening to him on a podcast called Smartless, hosted by Jason Bateman, Sean Hayes, and Will Arnett. They're all old friends, by the way, and it's hilarious. And so on the pod, he basically talks about growing up in the film and television industry from a very young age. Him and Jason Bateman are almost mirror images in that way. And so I found his stories fascinating, which is why I finally grabbed the book. So you may want to give it a shot too. but don't blame me if it sucks. Sixth up here is Monty Python Speaks, published in 1999, written by David Morgan. Monty Python, the British comedy troupe, started in 1969, continued into and past the 80s and beyond, became inspirations to every comedian ever, really, if they knew it or not. And this book basically tells their story with excerpts from the members themselves to friends and collaborators. I watched them as a kid in the 80s and haven't stopped since. They are the Yodas of smart, satiric, absurd, silly comedy that transcends age, culture, and maybe even language. Some people may dream of getting in their make-believe DeLorean, going back in time to meet presidents, musicians, conquerors. Not me. Give me Monty Python filming the upper class twit of the year every day of the week and twice on Tuesdays. Number 7, The Pythons. No, I don't see a common thread here at all. An autobiography by the Pythons, published in 2003 with Bob McCabe. This is currently the most recent book I have published about the Pythons, and it's written, I quote, in their own words and personal diary extracts. So I guess Bob is their copier and paster guy. Book number 8, you guessed it, The Life of Python. The history of something completely different, published in 1995 by George Perry. First off, there's no such thing as too much Python. I hope this video at least teaches you that. Its chapters are broken up by its members, suggesting its focus. It's a Monty Python coffee table book with lots of cool old photos in it. Book number 9, Always Look on the Bright Side of Life, a sort of biography by Eric Idle, who's from the comedy group. I'm not going to tell you. Published in 2018. I'm going to read an excerpt from the back cover here by Conan O'Brien about it. If I could go back in time and observe any comedian's journey, I think it would be a terrible waste of time travel. And the sentence ends there. Then it goes on. That said, I don't want to see just how Eric Idle and his friends changed comedy forever. This is the book I've been waiting for most of my life. Me too. And the final book of the video, book number 10. So anyway, that's it. That's all I had to say. That was the title of the book. Published in 2014 by John Cleese. John Cleese. Not John Cleese. I don't know who John Cleese is. What better way to end this book haul than with my favorite and probably most successful member outside of the group in Mr. Silly Walk, or the super stressed straight man himself. Fawlty Towers also happens to be one of my most favorite comedy series of all time. I even directed a short one-act play on it. Thank you all those people who helped me many moons ago. It's one of my most delightful memories of all time. I'm aware of his latest book out called Creativity, a short and cheerful guide. I'm dying to get my hands on that as well, and I'm super excited about reading this. That's all for me, folks. Let me know which one of these books interests you most, or if you happen to have read any of them already, what did you think? Don't forget to give me a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and if you'd like to support me any further, you could do that through my crowdfunding page called Buy Me a Coffee. You'll see a link down there. Thanks for watching. Be excellent to each other, and I hope to see you soon.